Recently I'm looking for a featured product section, but none of this actually caught my eyes. So I built my own version which looks so fresh and appealing, where you can slide through them by dragging or by clicking on these buttons. And also from here you can see the detailed info. Here all of this we are going to build with the free version of Elementor. So without any further ado, let's quickly make that. Okay, so here we'll make everything from scratch, but if you don't want to watch this full tutorial and only want to get this thing as a ready-made template, you can also get it from my template shop, where as a bonus you will get both the container and the old section column version. Okay, but if you don't want this template, you can also start it from scratch. So here first of all, let's take a new container, make it to full width and full height, 100 VH. Make the align items to center, and also make sure to give this overflow to hidden so the content inside will not exceed this container. Now inside this, let's also take another container. Here if you look at this slider, you can see with each slide we don't only have the images but also the other information like the title, category, price, all of these things. So for each slides, we need to wrap that information inside a separate container. So for our first slide, let's take our first container. Here if we open our structure panel, from here we can see all the structures. Okay, now inside this, let's take an heading widget and let's make that our title. Then duplicate this and make it our category, and finally create another one, and this one will be our price. Then let's take an image widget and make sure it's inside this container. Upload the image. And lastly, add a button widget right after that. And put the button text and link. Now most importantly, we need to go to this widget, and here let's add the class. MDW slider 142 title, and these following classes with these widgets. Now we can just duplicate this container multiple times and change the content inside to create our other items. Okay, we have created all of this. And here I don't want to show all of this data directly here. So let's go to this container, and from this responsive option, make sure to hide it from all of the devices. So later with our custom code, we'll show this data on the pop-up for the corresponding items. Okay, after that, let's take another container inside that and drag it down at the bottom here. And this is going to be our main slider. So also for this one, make it to full width and make the height 100%. Make this alignment to center. Also make sure to give its position to absolute and remove this X offset value. Right now just leave it like that, and then let's drag an image widget right after that, and this is going to be our background image behind the pop-up. So from here let's upload an image. Okay, here you can upload any image you want, but later this will be replaced with the dynamic image from the slider. We just need to design them. Make it to 100% by 100% and make the object fit cover to maintain the aspect ratio. Also make sure to give it to full width to cover the full screen, and finally make its position absolute and give it a higher Z index so that it will appear above our slider. And after that we need to create our pop-up. So for that, let's drag a new container right after this image here, make it to full width, 500 pixel. Here it is. Here we need to show it above our background image, so make sure to give it a higher Z index than that. And to place it at the middle of the section, make its position to absolute and adjust its offset values. And also from here, make this offset Y value minus 50%. Okay, we can see it on here. Now inside that, to create the top heading section, here we also need to take another container, and to create the left part, let's also take another container here. Inside that, let's take an heading widget, and this is going to be our title. You can put here any text you want. Here also this static text will be replaced with the slider data. Okay, let's duplicate this, and this is going to be the category. To place them in one line, let's go to this container and make the direction to row, align items to center, and also make this width auto. Then to add the price here, let's just duplicate this heading widget and drag it outside of this container here. Go to this parent container, and also for this one, make the direction to row align item center, and justify content to space between. Perfect. Under here, to add the image, let's click on this container, and from here click on the image widget. And finally, let's add the button. Let's quickly design this to match it with our expected design. Okay, now it's time to create our this control section, and here for our this outer and inner circle we need to create two separate containers, and for this animating close icon we need the divider widget. So let's click on this topmost container, and inside that we need to take a new container, full width, and make it to same height and width, and make this alignment both to center. And in this case, to create this background color, we need to go to specifically this background overlay option. If we set it from the background, it will not working properly. Okay, so let's add the color and make its opacity to fully 1. Make some border radius to make it a full circle, and to create the inner circle, we can just copy out this container and paste it to inside here. But for this one, reduce its height and width, and also change this background color. And as we want to place this at the bottom of the section, so let's go back to this container and make its position to absolute and adjust these offset values. And also increase its Z index so that it will be above all of our content. Now inside this, we also need some other things like an heading widget and also an icon. Let's upload and custom SVG. Let's duplicate this. And for this one, let's upload a next button icon. Now let's quickly design this and place them on the right place. And notice that here with this empty value, I means it will be completely empty. So if there is any default value, you need to clear that and make it empty. Now inside this container, we need to take a divider widget and design this. Make it a custom width, 20 pixel, and make its position to absolute and remove these X and Y offset values. And from here we also need to rotate this to 45 degree. From here just duplicate this container, and for this one instead of 45 make it to -45, which makes here a close icon. Now finally it's time to add the classes. So with our this topmost container, let's add the class MDW slider 142 and some other classes with these containers, and also don't forget to add these classes with these pop-up elements. And then to add the custom code, let's search for an HTML widget and drag it to here right above this container and paste the code snippet. Okay, now this slider is perfectly working, and also this pop-up looks great. But here we forgot to add our this heading. So for that, let's drag an heading widget to here. Change the design, and I want to place it a little bit top above our middle slider. So make its position to absolute and adjust these values. You can see we have used this custom calc function where it says it will be above 240 pixel from the middle, and you need to write it down exactly like this with these spaces. Now it's looking good on the desktop. If we see it from the other devices, here on tablet it also looks great, and on mobile we need to fix some elements. So go to the mobile device, and here first thing we need to do is reduce its size and adjust the position. And to place the slider a little bit top, let's also adjust these values for this container. If we go down, you can see this control also looks messed up. So for this container, let's fix it again to 65 pixel, and for this one 170. Perfect. Then let's also adjust the pop-up style to make it small. And the last thing we need to do is for our this container, instead of 100 VH, we need to set a fixed height 500 pixel. Okay, now this also looks good from the mobile devices. If you enjoyed this tutorial, then don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on my next video.